So welcome to another episode of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I'm your host, Stephen Edwards. So we've been saying that, the way things are moving, this rapid, radical, revolutionary and exponential change that's happening in our world, in our lives, in everything, everywhere, all at once, is pretty hard to keep up with. And a lot of us are searching for certainty and meaning in all this chaos and mayhem. And that's what we're providing here. So the speed of this change, this rapid, radical, revolutionary, exponential change, is not slowing down. In fact, since this series began, it's just simply got faster, right? And what we've seen is things are escalating. We've got 24 wars going on right now. We have an election next year, and people are concerned because of this technology that it's becoming more and more difficult to know what is true, what is fake, what is real. Are people telling the truth, or are they making things up? And so I wanted you to know that these technologies, which I've talked about being an external representation of the inner capacity, inner technology that lies within us, that we can do all these things. And these things are stepping stones for us to remembering, rediscovering, revealing all these things to ourselves. But in the meantime, these technologies are going to serve us in a variety of ways. One is that you're right. It's absolutely almost impossible to really decipher what is true. I mean, we can verify, we can watch different news programs that'll just reinforce what we believe. And then if we watch another station and there's the same news, but in a different way, it means something else. So we kind of stick with what we know. And that's one way to stay comfortable, but it's not real. So what we're discovering is that the more we try and rely on external reality to find the truth and find the answers to this and find the solutions to our issues, the more we're going to get the runaround. And that these technologies and this, for example, AI now, you probably saw the Pope in that jacket, looking like a rapper, looked real, and everybody said, it looked pretty cool, but it wasn't real. And of course, you can now take 3 seconds of anybody's voice and you can duplicate what they say. AI can pretend to be who they are, and it's freakish, right? It's how do you stay safe? Well, what's happening is we're being pushed into our inner technology to be guided by our heart and intuition. Time seems to be speeding up. And, you're probably sick and tired of people saying, where did all the time go? Oh, and people say, it's because you're getting older. It's garbage. The time is moving faster, or at least our perception of time is moving faster, because we perceive time through our heart. Our heart is connected to the earth. The earth's frequency is moving up. Therefore, time seems to be moving faster. It's that simple. So what that does, as time is moving faster, it's more and more difficult to remember what you did a few days ago, right? What was I doing, right? And it's becoming more and more difficult to plan for the next 4 or 5 days even, let alone the year, right? So what does that mean? It means we're being pushed into the now. So now, more than ever, it's imperative, not important, it's imperative for our survival and for us to thrive in this new world that is being birthed right now, right? It's been happening since the beginning of time, but it's taken on an exponential speed, and it's freaking people out if they don't know what is going on. So know this, it's all serving us. All the technologies are serving us because they're going to allow us to have technology think for us, think things through, do the thought process, the mundane stuff, which is going to free us to live from our heart, to live from our creative expression and express our creativity, to not have to worry about money anymore. We're going to have radical abundance. I know it sounds crazy. Well, so is everything else I said, so get used to it, right? These are radical changes. And we can no longer live in a thought-driven world. The Yupik elders, who are from Alaska, very wise. So this is not new information. Haven't all the elders The ancients said, live from the heart, speak from the heart. If something is true, it will be heartfelt. And the Unpack elders are no different. And they say that we live today in the reverse society, that we have reversed all the laws of nature, the laws of living. And they say with great credibility that we've changed these laws to be the opposite of what is really true, what is really our nature. So, for example, they say that, we used to teach our children how to live, and now we teach them how to make a living. We used to honor our elders, and now what we honor is money and possessions and youth. And we forget about our elders. I mean, here, in our Western civilization, more than probably any other, we push them aside, put them into nursing homes, or push them out of society when they have so much value to give. The Unpack elders say that it used to be our heart that dominated. Our heart was where we got our information, not the brain. That our brain was simply a servant of the heart to help fulfill the heart's desires. They didn't say we didn't ever think, but we live today in a world that is almost entirely driven by our thoughts, our brain, our mind, a mind-driven society, instead of listening to our heart. People have forgotten how to listen to their heart. And here's the irony. Our mind is never present. It's never in the now. Our mind is either in the future or the past. It's never in the now. And yet our heart is always present. That's why they call it a gift, right? Our heart is always in the now. And so, as we are in the process of transitioning from a mind-driven society to a heart-driven society and a heart-driven world, it's the only way forward. We've reached the limits of our mind. And if we continue to use our mind and have a mind-driven world, what do you think is going to happen? You can see it, right? The wars are coming back, the destruction, because it's missing the heart. And it's focused on what can we do and how can we have power in the future. And people are thinking about all the things that have happened in the past. And it's a mess, right? So the past has happened in order to educate us and advise us for the future if we listen to our heart. Now, that doesn't mean living in, they're so emotional and they're letting the feelings run riot. No. Our heart, which is our central intelligence agency. You like that? Central intelligence, because it's the center of our intelligence. Your heart's got neurons. There are neurons all in your body. They're not just in your brain, right? So what happens is the earth sends a frequency out. It was discovered in 1898 by Nikola Tesla. And Tesla says, if you want to discover the mysteries of the universe, look to vibration, look to frequency, look to energy, because that's where all the answers are. And so with this frequency coming out of the earth, which he measured, and we've used in all kinds of different ways, this is not new information. Of course, that vibration, that frequency is coming from the frequency of the universe. Well, that frequency of the earth actually, because we're part of the earth, right? Every part of our body is made of the earth, right? Yes, right? And we are electrical and magnetic in nature. Our brain's thoughts, electrical. Heart is magnetic. Combine those two together, electromagnetic fields of energy, which is everything in creation. So we have the power. In fact, we are doing it unconsciously. We create everything, everywhere, all at once. And when we move to fifth dimensional manifestation, that's when we use the magnetics of our heart, the electricity of our brain. But our heart, our CIA, is the central intelligence agency. And the mind, our thoughts, the brain, becomes the servant of the heart. I know, who knew? Well, this is the transformation that we're taking on. Is it going to be easy? No. Is it new? Yes. Is it change? Yes. Is change uncomfortable? Usually. Because we resist it. We don't want to do that. We're comfortable in our mind. It's easier in our mind. I don't want to have to learn how to connect to my heart. Well, it's a choice. But if you don't, the mind will probably become inoperable, and so will you. So really, it's a matter of life and death. It's still a choice. So we've got to learn how to use the strings of our heart. You've heard that, right? We've got to learn how to feel our way forward, because our eyes will deceive us. When you look at things out in the world, you're like, is that real? Is it not real? Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? And you're constantly questioning it, right? Because you're not seeing what is real. You need to look with your real eyes, your feelings. Nuh-uh, yeah. So this is part of the golden secret. To truly live, we have to live from our heart, because we've got to live in the now to truly live. And when we're living in the now and we're connected to our heart and we're using our intuition to guide us, it allows us as well to tap into the unique creative energy of our heart. That is where our art is, in our heart. Spell it out. Heart. Yes, we're all artists. And when we express our creativity from our heart, we become heartists. And we begin to practice heartism. I know. Words can be broken apart, extended, and changed. We've done that for generations. Ever since words were created, we've changed the language to suit the reality that we live in. And now we're moving into a heart-driven reality. Are you ready? Yes, you are. You already were. Haven't you always said you were born ready? Right? You've always been ready. Already, right? The question is, are you willing to step over your fears? And that's what disconnects us from our heart energy. Fear, right? You get afraid, you stop breathing. Breathing is an important component of life, just so you know. And it allows us, as we oxygenate, to open our heart and our mind, right? So this is the path and the golden secret. If we're going to, like the UPIC elders says, look, we need to remember how to live. And how we live is have three components that are the driving force, the engine to our train, if you like, the engine to touch our passion. When we're living with passion, passion is our unique creative energy expressing itself on the physical plane. That's what passion is. No way. So we want to live with passion. You know, my Tony Robbins, who I worked for some time, always he has a byline still to this day, right? Live with passion. Yeah, because he knows passion is the unique creative spirit expressing itself on the physical plane. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, what we need is an M, right? A golden M for mission. We need a mission, which is another way of saying the goal, right? We need an outcome. We need to be working towards something. We need to have a reason, right? An outcome. Because if you don't have a target, you just wander around aimlessly, which is okay. But the M gives us a direction, mission. Then we need to have a vision. You got to see it. And then you need to have a purpose. These three intrinsic energy forces combine together to give life meaning, to give us certainty, to give us direction. So, M, mission. Let's talk about the mission part of the equation, right? Mission, vision, and purpose. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So this is, come on, this is the outcome or the result that we want to create. Now, I'm just going to tell you, I'm talking about a mission, vision, and purpose really for your life, right? But you can have a mission, vision, and purpose for anything, right? Your mission could be to build a house. Okay, that's your mission. Well, then you go vision. What does it look like? You got to see it. What kind of house do you want to build? The purpose is, well, why do you want to build a house? Because I want to live in it, right? So it can be really simple. It doesn't have to be like, my mission is to, create peace on earth, heaven on earth. And the vision is that's what it looks like. It's kind of airy-fairy, a lot of fairies around and whatever, right? And the purpose of that is, well, that's where I want to live. So A mission, vision, and purpose can be anything you want, but it gives direction. It's the outcome or the result. You can have a mission, vision, and purpose for your relationship, for your marriage, for your family, for your health, for your nutrition, anything you want, right? But it gives you an outcome, a desired result. And so what we need is, and this is how the mission becomes reality. So it becomes what is in our heart. What do you want to create from your heart, right? Remember we said, well, if you do that, that's your art, right? So for your life is your masterpiece. And the outcome of your life, what do you want your life to be about? What do you want to accomplish in this lifetime? If we're talking about a life, mission, vision, and purpose, right? And so people say, Stephen, I don't know what my mission is. I've been asking myself that. But maybe if you changed the question to what you're questioning, if you question your brain is going to be thinking in terms that you've been conditioned to think. Possibly, how can I make money? How can I make a difference in this? Whereas your heart doesn't think about money. So when my program, Stephen Paul Edwards, Turning Wealth Inside Out, is not about money. Wealth is measured not in money, but in time anyway, and freedom, right? So how do you create freedom? How do you have the time to live life on your terms, which is what wealth is, right? So we do that by living our mission, vision, and purpose, living from our heart, expressing our heart, and by living by the principles of heartism. And then you become heartistic. All right? So all these play on words just make it something more to focus on, right? And to see the truth that everybody has a mission, a vision, and purpose, because people say, I don't know what it is. And this is one of the big things that people are lacking right now. A lot of young people are saying, I don't know what my mission in life is, or my vision for my life is, or my purpose. Because there's all these new technologies, and what I was going to do is not going to work anymore. And because what you were going to do was not going to be expressing your unique creative energy. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, what about, writing, and what about, art and all those kind of things? You are still going to be the artist behind those things. But there's many people that can't actually draw, or haven't learned how to draw, that are going to be able to draw and express and create incredible art through the technology, but it's still the human behind it. So look, there's a lot of concern this technology is going to take over the world and destroy us, and it probably will. But if it does, we'll go to a better place. But here's the bottom line. It's going to give us the ability to do things we've never been able to do before. We're going to have the opportunity to cure diseases we've never been able to cure before, to be able to create radical abundance, to have equanimity, everybody having access to the information, access to the resources that they haven't had the opportunity to access before. It's going to decentralize, democratize, and demonetize everything, everywhere, all at once. It's going to create a level playing field. And that might sound crazy. It might sound impossible. And you might think that will only happen when pigs fly. I'm going to show you a photograph of pigs flying. My point is, it's going to happen. You can be on board or not on board. It is going to happen. Just as we have most people today, not everybody, I admit, has running water in their homes, right? Has a bathroom in their homes, right? That wasn't always the case. And nobody could imagine that would ever happen, but it has. And nobody can ever imagine that money will not be an issue. Well, it won't. And we're going to live in a world of abundance. I know, it sounds too good to be true. And I know it sounds a little airy-fairy. And, okay, that's all right. But so did a lot of the things that we have today that we just take for granted. We don't even realize we have anymore. All right, so we're going to create a mission, an outcome. I'm giving you the very small Reader's Digest version of this to get it in as small amount of time as I can, right? So then we're going to go to vision, V. V for victory, V for vision. So we have another powerful tool. We've got our heart. So our mission is going to come from our heart. What is it we want to create in the world? How do we want to make the world a better place? And then what does that look like? We've got to see it. And people used to say, I'll believe it when I see it. You've got to See it first. That's how it becomes, that's how it's manifested into creation. So I already said, right? We've got this thing called our heart, right? And then we have what we call emotion, right? Emotion. Oh, helping me here, pen. Okay, emotion, right? So emotion. And you see me with words, changing words and all the time. Well, look at emotion. You've probably seen this. E is the symbol for energy, right? So emotion is energy in motion in the body. That energy in motion in the body creates a vibration. Oh, everything in this entire universe is a vibratory field of energy. And everything is manifested from vibration, which becomes a frequency. The vibration vibrates at a frequency. Movement, right? How frequently, right? Frequency, right? That frequency, the higher the frequency, the more energy, right? Now, any emotion is going to do that. So hate, anger, resentment. But what are the higher vibrational energies? Love, compassion, and passion. So when we're focused on our mission, it's something that we must be passionate about. What did I say? Live with passion, right? Your unique creative energy expressing itself. When you've got passion, this energy of passion, and then on the other side, you have your image nation, right? Also called imagination. And that's when you see it, right? So when you see it, when you have these images in your mind, in your imagination, and you have energy of passion that you put on the images, that is fifth dimensional manifestation. That's how it happens. And so this energy radiates out of your heart, the magnetic energy, with the electrical energy of the thoughts, and it comes together in this emotion, energy in motion, with passion, and it goes out into the universe, and that's how we manifest. Yeah. That's it. So now, do you understand why it's critical to have the three components? People say, oh, well, you've got to have a purpose. Oh, well, some people say you've got to have a mission. Some people say, oh, you've got to have a vision. You've got to have all three. All three combined are the golden secret. This is critical, right? So we have a vision. All right, so how critical is a vision? Well, let's think of, you think of Elon Musk, right? Or Walt Disney. Well, you can think of them both. So, you know, they both had a vision for their lives. So did Bill Gates, so did Steve Jobs. Just about every powerful, game-changing individual that has set foot on earth that we talk about, and you can go into the religions, you can go to the deities, all of them had a mission, a vision, a purpose. You know, with Elon Musk, you know, people think it was easy for him. It's not been easy for him. First of all, he created PayPal, right? Along with his partners. So he took on the financial industry, right? Not easy to do. He created that, sold it. I think he got out 180 million. And then he decided that, you know, his dream, his mission, his vision and his purpose was to create a space company, go to Mars, right? And an electrical vehicle company to make the world a better place, to help with the environment and to give us a multi-planetary world that will have choices of where in the universe we live. That's stupid. That's never going to happen, right? Well, he even said that himself. He said, I'm probably not going to do it. I'm going to give it a shot. I'll put 90 million of my 180 million into it, and if I lose all that, I've still got 90 million. I'll still be okay, right? Makes kind of sense. So he did. And he realized he was delusional. 90 million wasn't going to cut it. Not that he couldn't do it. 90 million wasn't enough, so he had to put more in. So then he got up to 110 million, and then he went up to 130, and then 140, and you get it, right? In the end, what did he do? He put everything he had on the line for his vision, his mission, his vision, and his purpose. He might not call it that, but it was. And it still wasn't easy. He's sleeping on the floor of the car factory or on the sofas at his friend's place. He had no money, nothing. And the people in the factory, he used to sleep under the desk on the hard floor, and the employees in the factory, in the Tesla factory, could see him. He was crazy. He was out of his mind, and he was in his heart. And you know, he said, I would rather die than not at least go for my mission, vision, and purpose. I couldn't imagine even living if I didn't go for it. And then there came a point. Now, this is all true, by the way. You can verify all this. At one point, he was told by all his advisors, everybody around him, Elon, you're running out of money. And you've got these two companies, and they're both just, soaking up money like crazy. You need to let one go. Because if you don't, they'll both fail, and you'll lose everything. And so he thought about it, and then he thought to himself, well, if you have two children, how would you decide, if you had to choose between feeding one or the other, how would you choose? These are your children. And he said, I can't. I'm going to feed them both. Now, that wasn't an intellectual decision. It wasn't a decision made on data. It wasn't a decision made on the advice of anybody outside of him. The only place he could make that decision from was his own heart, his divine guidance, his intuition. And he said, I'm going to feed them both. And he did. And you see, when you move, providence moves too. When you put everything that you have on the line for what you believe in and what you dream of, providence moves too. And of course, not only did they both survive, they both flourished against all the odds. Only faith could get him there. Faith in a higher power. Faith in if you do what is right, it'll be rewarded. Now, Walt Disney did the same thing. And what did Walt want to do? He wanted to make the world a better place too. After all, it's a small world, isn't it? You see, most people that have been to Disneyland or Disney World have been on that ride, even though it's one of the oldest rides in there, it's still one of the most popular. And when they go on that ride, he does something to try and get people to see things that will have an impact in their lives and their future. And when he gets people on that ride, it's a small world after all. He puts them on a boat, so they can't get off. And then as the boat's moving along, he seems to be going really slowly. People are going, is this working? Right? He's slowing people down. And then in the distance, you hear that song, don't you? You're like, Stephen, don't do it. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. Now, you're not going to forget that for probably a few months. Because it's written at a certain cadence to do exactly that. So you remember it. Remember. And then he's got all these things prepared to prep you for the experience as you go through the gap up to the right, which caused you to look up to the right. He had these little figurines representing the cultures of people all over the world. To put into the hearts and minds of young children that these people from different cultures are your friends. And nothing to fear. Also, parents are usually on the boat with them, right? Genius, it's more than a ride. It was a way to really change the hearts and minds of young children, knowing that they would one day grow up and be you. And yet, these people that do these amazing things are met with vehement opposition, ridicule, before everybody says, oh yeah, that's obvious. That's a paradigm shift. And what you will do will probably be a paradigm shift, if you want it to be. If you live your mission, vision, and purpose, it's a choice. But you're here anyway. Why not go for it? And now more than ever, like I've been saying, which is why I've been talking about all these different technologies. AI is one. You've got now the ability with all these AI technologies, Midjourney, Jasper, so many. I mean, the list goes on. There are hundreds, and they're all going to become more and more specific in what they can do to give you the tools to be able to create whatever you want and live life on your terms. It's a gift. Now, the purpose part, the P, these are beautiful letters, aren't they? The P, the purpose, is the why. Why is this so important to you? Because that is the driving force. The why, right? So, when I teach investing programs, I'll ask people, what is your why? And people say, well, I need to make money. Okay. So what you want is a stack of green pieces of paper with pictures of deceased notables. Is that true? And they go, no. So what do you want the money for? Oh, I want the money so that I can, provide for my family. Why do you want to provide for your family? Because I want to give them a great life. I want my children to have a better life than I did and more opportunities than I did. Okay. And why is that important to you? Well, right now, my mom, she needs money for an operation because she has a heart problem. By the way, isn't that funny? Heart problem? When you consider that heart disease is the #1 cause of death in America. I'm not kidding. Why? Because what you don't use, you lose. Yeah. We're not connecting to our heart enough, and it's killing us. That's why I'm saying, and it's going to become more and more important. We're going to become more and more inoperable if we don't make the 17-inch journey from our brain to our heart. I'm serious. So then you say, so why is it important that you can pay for this operation for your mom? Well, because if she doesn't get this operation, she's going to die. So it's a matter of life and death. Yeah. Why is it important that you do this for your mom? Because my mom is everything. My mom gave me life and she nurtured me. She gave me everything I needed. I never wanted for anything. And she's always taking care of me, giving me advice. She raised me. I am who I am because of my mom. I would die for my mom. Now you have a why. And the chances are that person is probably in tears right now because you've got them to connect to their heart and their emotion. And when you get your heart into your why, now you have an incredible power, right? So why are you here? I don't mean on this video, I mean on earth. Why have you come? Because you did come here and you chose to be here. You go, I did not. Yes, you did. Get over it, right? You chose to be here. You came here for a specific set of reasons to fulfill a mission and vision and purpose. Don't say you don't know, because if you keep saying you don't know, you'll be right. When you say, I don't know, or I can't, it shuts the brain down and they get on with doing something else, like watching Netflix or YouTube. That's okay though, as long as you're watching me. So if you say you can't, or you won't, or you don't want to, then the brain goes, okay, let's get on with something else. But if you say how, I can show you how. You're going to see how. And the world is going to become you because you're going to become a heartist. And we are going to have a heart-driven society. And you are a very, very important part of that reality. So I told you, this is a recent photograph taken somewhere out in space. The pigs are coming and they're flying. I know, a little corny. But anything is possible if you live from your heart. All we have to do is follow the yellow brick road. Some of you are going, what the heck is the yellow brick road? Well, listen, there's a movie called The Wizard of Oz. It was written 300 years ago. It might seem like that, right? Still one of my favorite movies because it's so heart-centered, right? Dorothy, of course, in a dream, gets lost and in somewhere close to the Emerald City. We're not quite sure where. Anyway, she takes the yellow brick road because all the munchkins tell her that that's what she needs to do to get home. And where is home? Where the heart is. Right? Yeah. And she has a faithful dog, Faith. She gets a brain, but it's all about the heart. Right? Courage. Yeah. And she follows the yellow brick road. Just follow your heart. Your heart is the yellow brick road. Your heart and divine guidance through your intuition. Not running around, freaking out, being emotional or being angry. Yes, that's emotion, but it's not coming from the heart. It's coming from the mind, which is fear-based, ego-driven. So anything that you think your heart tells you to do that doesn't come from love, compassion, from joy, from happiness, from the passion in your heart, that is not coming from your heart. It's coming from your mind. So we create this heart-centered world. We've got to take the heart pills. I mean, everybody's taking pills. Why don't we have a pill for getting connected to your heart? So some of you, chemists, going into the pharmacy industry, maybe we just need a pill for now to help us on the journey, right? The heart pill. So we have earth and our heart can be at one again. All right, so remember, your eyes will deceive you. Don't trust them. Look at things through your real eyes, which is your heart and intuition. The Greeks had a saying, saper ord. It was Horace in 20 BC first came up with it, and then in 1794, the philosopher Immanuel Kant, he wrote an essay about what is enlightenment, and he used this word or phrase, saper ord. So it's been around a long time, interpreted many different ways, but what it really means is, in the end, is dare to be wise. And what that means is to live from your heart, because your wisdom is in your heart, right? So, and Socrates said learning is simply remembering. We're remembering who we are. And Ram Dass said all we're doing is walking each other home. And home is where? Where your heart is. So we are remembering everything that we need to know is in our DNA. So here's the truth. In our essence of who we really are, we're all fully enlightened beings. We are a part of, not apart from, the one. And we're all at different stages of remembrance. And we came into this life to have experiences. And the only way we could have those experiences is if we temporarily forgot who we really are. Because if we remembered who we really are, we couldn't have any of our experiences. So you have to also remember that some people are not ready to remember. And they want to be forgotten. They want to be in a state of forgetfulness. It's easy. Write it down. Now, to determine, to decide, to choose to remember. If you want to move up the scale of evolution, if you want to move closer to enlightenment, if you want to raise your consciousness, experience this amazing earth at a whole different level, then you need to remember. And so there are certain things we can do to help us remember. So I created an acronym for DARE, Daily Active Remembering Experience. So every day, I want you to do a DARE. I know, think of everything. So your dare from this episode is to start to speak from your heart. Notice how it feels when you just take what you say from your throat, just let it sink into your heart and know how it feels when you say those things. And what you'll notice is if it's not something really coming from the right energy, your heart, it won't feel right. It'll feel wrong. And so it will to the other person. Just like when you see somebody do something or say something and you feel there's something about that person that's just not right. Because their frequency that they are sending out is not aligned with their heart. It's out of sync, right? Yeah, I know. We have all these tools within us. So your daily active remembering experience until the next episode is to speak from your heart and listen to your heart and listen with your heart and to breathe in your heart. I know that sounds ridiculous because you breathe in, but when you breathe in, when you're meditating, just imagine that you're breathing the air in through your heart. I know that's a lot of things to do, a lot of exercises, a lot of heartism. It's going to help you be a heartist. Okay, so I want you to saper ord, dare to be wise. Tell everybody about this and they will think you're crazy, but that's okay. Then you know you're on the right track. All right. So it's been a delight having you here. Most of this just came out as it was supposed to. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Until then, saper ord, dare to be wise.